It's so weird how I think I said this last week, how I don't know, the YouTube or whatever just crushes
All right, we're live.
my quality.
Yeah, it does it for mine too. I'm not quite
It
sure.
doesn't
I think it's
but
something about
on
live.
my end you look fine. Like you look it doesn't look it looks great. Like I don't know. Anyway,
Nothing you.
we're live, huh?
We're here.
Hi everybody. It's the Dead Air Horror Review Show. It's TJ. It's Chris. And we watched a movie based on Chris's favorite geometric shape. Uh it's not a rhombus. It's not a rectangle. No, sir. It's a triangle. Uh,
Here, baby.
and yes, and you know what? If I had,
Equilaterals all
oh
day.
no, no. If I had to say Chris, if Chris was a shape, he'd be an acute triangle because he is a cute little triangle. uh, but shockingly enough, this movie is not about math at all. This movie is about time
About
and
confusion.
about regret and about making a movie on about a $40 budget
Yeah.
because and that is actually a compliment. I'm not dogging this movie because you could tell this movie is very low budget, but I feel like they did a pretty good job with what they had. But yeah, it's also about a big ship, and we'll get into it. I feel like this movie, Chris. I know we try to generally avoid spoilers, but I feel like talking about this movie is going to be basically impossible without spoiling it.
Yeah, I agree. Because really after the first, what would you say, 15 minutes of the movie,
Yeah.
you are forced into this time loop, and we, like you said, we can't not give it away.
Well, yeah, and it's one of those things where the so we know we all know the TJ rule, right? And this movie came dangerously close to breaking the TJ rule because I thought it was a little weak in the first 15 minutes. Took
Really,
it was a little bit of a slow start, not enough to turn me off to it. It was still interesting enough,
I thought
but then I thought it ended strong.
the
I thought the
strongest
ending was strong.
was the first 15 minutes and the last like 20 minutes.
Really? You thought the first 15 minutes were the strongest? I was
Not
very
that,
annoyed by the side characters, like,
yeah,
like, first, like, when you get not before the storm hits, because I thought that was actually, like, really well done. And again, on, like, a shoestring budget, I thought that, like, the sea effects and all looked really good, like, I thought
yeah.
they did a great job. But no, like, the whole, like, annoying friend trying to hook up the one annoying friend, and, like, that stuff was like, "Oh my god, is this ever" like,
Yeah.
again, I was a little fucked up when I watched this, so, I was coming down off of Zins and edibles.
This must have been a trip for you watching this.
Well, it's funny that this movie is all about time because I felt like I was so high, I was perceiving time on like a different spectrum. So
Did that make you enjoy it more?
yeah, kinda
Oh, all
actually.
right. I would like
It
to.
made
I would like
I
you to
was
see
like
it sober and
I was like
give your
hyper
review.
focused on it. Oh, we'll get into it. I didn't hate this movie, but I didn't love it either. But there's enough of it where like I think it really I think it finished very strong, and I think it's a movie like much in the same way that like and it's by no means as good, but like High Tension is a movie that is like simple on the surface, but then if it because of stuff that it kind of that unfold in the movie, I feel like its visual themes are speaking to a deeper storyline.
Yeah.
I said that in the worst possible way, but I feel like this movie is kind of the same, especially by the time you get to the end, because you're like, because like what everything like represents, and I thought it was pretty clever. Again, it's not a masterpiece, but I thought like I thought it definitely did a good job at keeping me interested, and like I wanted to know what the hell was going on. Like I was pretty as for someone that hated all the characters in the beginning of the movie as much as I did, for me to be then invested in figuring out what this loop was. I don't know. I thought that
And
was pretty impressive.
I I'm speaking to sober TJ right now, and I'm guessing if sober
Mhm.
TJ watched this, he would have been bored out of his mind because he would have seen
Well,
this
I was
movie
again.
five times before in similar,
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very
variations.
similar, but I felt like, yeah, I mean, again, like the time. This is it's kind of funny because you texted me and you're like, "Is this Time Crimes on a boat?" And even down to the person wearing like a fucking makeshift. mask.
Yeah.
It's very like Time Crimes. Again, this is not as nearly as good as Time Crimes.
Nah,
Like
not
Time
even
Crimes, a
close.
fucking masterpiece. But I mean, I again, like I feel like the whole time loop thing, and that could be. Is that our first topic? I can't
Is it?
remember.
First impressions is our
First
first
impressions.
topic.
First impressions is, but I feel like
Are we getting
my
in? Because
first.
let me start the
Go ahead.
countdown. If we're gonna do this thing, all right, here we go. Boom. All right, we're at 30. We'll never get under 30, but we can try. Okay.
Well, he said that last time, and then we went over. Remember,
Well,
we were
well
like,
over. Yeah.
oh, we're not even going to be able to get 15 minutes out of that movie,
Yeah.
and then look what we did.
Yep
But
the gab.
no, what I was saying is that I feel like with these type of movies, like they're all a little derivative. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of there's
Yeah.
a lot of genre tropes and things. But where I thought that this movie shined, and again, I just like time based movies. I don't know. It's like it's always like even when they're bad, I kind of like them. I don't know why. It's just a science fiction horror thing that I just always love. But I liked when you saw evidence that this loop has been going on for like
Ever.
ever.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this is hold on. I'm not even. Let me rewind because this is not a first impression. So I am also I am also manipulating time myself.
With
I
just your right hand. Look at how you did
so
that. It's amazing. You just
look at
wax
that.
on,
So I can go
wax
back.
off.
So first impressions, and I'm gonna go way deep on my first impressions. Uh when I put this on my Plex server, I'm very anal about that Plex server. And one of the great features of Plex is you can actually upload the movie, and then you can click a little box that says change poster. So they have like a whole mess of posters that you can pick from that they scoured off the internet, and you can also upload your own file if you want. But every poster for this movie is terrible. the
Yeah,
posters,
pretty bad.
the posters for this movie suck, and I was
Yeah.
like, based on poster alone, I would have never watched this fucking movie,
Well,
and it's probably why I haven't watched this movie.
there's
The
nothing
one that you got,
scary
the one
about
that
a
you got,
boat by
Chris,
itself.
the one that you got for our thing here, that's actually one of the better ones,
Yeah. It was
but
the best one I could find, and it still
it's still
sucks.
not very good. I
Yeah.
mean, it's yeah.
I think it's clever how they used the
The
sail as an
waves.
A for triangle. I don't know if you can see
Oh
that.
yes,
Isn't
yes. I
that
can't
clever?
read, so I'm not good at reading. But I also like how the breaks and the waves are making a skull. Like that's
Oh
cool.
yeah. I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
noticing that
fun.
now too. See,
Yeah, I like that.
it's a decent poster, but a
That
big
one is literally you found the best one because some of the
yeah.
other ones are trash. And like one is literally just one is and I thought after seeing it on the poster, I thought it'd be represented in the film, but it's not. It's literally just a like bloody triangle. I was
Oh,
like,
that's
oh.
terrible.
But
Yeah.
like kind of like how in the movie she makes the like she writes in the blood. It looks
Yeah.
like that. So I thought maybe at some point in the movie there would be a bloody triangle, but there is not. Other than that, like I like I said, as soon as this movie started, I was like, oh, this is a cheap movie. Like it just it has the hallmarks of stuff that looks very low budget, and it was kind of working against it right away. But then again, like as the movie went on, I felt like I kind of forgot about its low budgetness. Aside from some of the acting, which isn't great, I thought the lead actress was actually pretty good. I thought the rest of the cast not so good.
Really?
Though the
Even
lead act,
Liam Hemsworth? I thought he was good.
Liam Hemsworth is okay. What happens to Liam Hemsworth? And again, there's going to be spoilers throughout. So if you haven't seen the movie, pause the show, go watch the movie. You can actually, this is one of those funny things. So this
TJ, why don't
movie
you
is a
just give him the password to your Plex, and then
well,
everyone
you
will
can
be
watch
happy.
this. The whole movie is for free on YouTube.
No, but
You
they
can
want
watch
your
the whole.
Plex.
I mean, fucking DM me. I'll send you an invite to my Plex. I don't mind.
No,
It's
don't. It's just for us.
why
That's our
not? I
special
don't
thing.
care. I legitimately don't care. There's
Is there
people
anyone on
that
it besides me?
oh yeah, dude. There's like 50 people on that thing. Yeah,
I thought I
there's
was
tons of
part of a
people.
special club.
No, I mean, the
50
whole reason I
people?
started
God.
the Plex is because of Movie the Podcast. That was the
Ah,
easiest way for everybody to get the shows.
all right.
And I used to literally, I mean, I used to go all kinds of crazy ways to get the movies from my hard drive to my TV, and the Plex now is a godsend.
The Plex
But
is the
anyway,
best. Yeah.
it's incredible. But no, Triangle is free on YouTube if you want to watch it. So it's short. It's only like an hour and a half. Like pause the show, watch it, then come back to hear our thoughts. Um, but no, Liam Hemsworth dies. I hate movie deaths when characters have to die or get gravely injured accidentally because it's always really stupid. And they haven't like I can't think of a movie where somebody dies from like kind of an accidental way where it doesn't look really out of place. But like Liam Hemsworth is like impaled through the neck by this just bolt that's
It was
sticking
like
out of
the
the
back of
boat.
the head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like it's funny because when you first see the wound, like I thought there was gonna be fucking robots in this movie because it's like this
Yeah.
perfectly squared hole. I was like, oh shit, is there gonna be like cyborgs in this fucking movie? But like then when you find out how he got the wound, it's ridiculous because like you're telling me that this woman pushed his head into the wall with such
So hard.
force
Yeah.
that it wasn't like it was like a knife. It was just like some like bolt. So it's like a dull bolt, and she pushed him that hard where it just impaled him through his neck. It's very silly. How about you on the first impressions there, Christoph?
The first impression, I would say of the first 15 minutes were strong.
Hmm.
I was, fairly intrigued by, her demeanor because she seemed off. She seemed it
She
even
seemed really off, yeah.
yeah.
And the movie starts out with her and her kid, and then it just kind of abruptly isn't, and you're like, oh, that's kind of weird.
And
Like,
off is a broad brush stroke of a term, but she was clearly bothered by something, like she had something on her mind
yeah,
before she even got into the boat. But reluctantly, she got in the boat and all hell broke loose. The boat scene I thought was pretty good. It was
boat scene was well done. Yeah.
yeah, it was the CGI was good. Um it looked terrifying, it looked ominous, like a big dark cloud coming, over top of you in the middle of the ocean. Like that for me is terrifying.
Oh, you're
I
done.
yeah,
And like,
I
what do you do? You're
right, you're
just
stuck.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hate the idea of being out on the water just in general.
You don't like the water in general?
I mean, I like swimming. I just don't like being out on boats like far
See, I've
from
always
shore.
I feel like in a past life, like I was like a sailor or something because I always
Really?
think it's like really cool to be out on a boat. Like I don't know.
Yeah. I get nervous about being so far away where I'm just stuck for this very reason. Something, a storm comes through, you're fucked.
Oh yeah, especially
Um
like this, and I guess the hintings is that it's some kind of supernatural storm. You know what I
right.
mean? Because
Yeah.
one thing I do like about this movie is that the loop itself is never really explained, like why it start. You know what I mean? You're just trapped in it, and I kind of like that about the movie. Like, because I feel like, and again, I'll get into this a little later. I feel like it's more like I think there's a question as to whether or not any of this is actually happening. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah, it
feel,
could be a
especially by
dream
the end,
state.
especially by the end of the movie. But anyway, what is our next topic
Our
de
next one.
jour?
All right. Bye. Um
Stand by, stand ball. That's me.
okay, TJ, you're the
Sisyphus.
one that pulled this out.
Well,
Sisyphus.
so
Go ahead and explain to us
they
what's
bring it
Sisyphus.
up in the movie, which I was kind of like, okay, like it's a little too much. Like you're kind of set. You're like, I know the themes that you're going for here, but you don't need to come out and say it. But for those that are not familiar with Greek mythology, Sisyphus was a dude who fucking
A
cheated death,
dude
and as his punishment, he's got to constantly push this boulder up a rock up the side of a cliff. This boulder, not a boulder, up a rock.
up
I
a
guess a
rock.
cliff is.
That sounds
I guess a
awful.
cliff. I guess a cliff technically is a rock,
That
but
sounds even more difficult than rolling it up a hill. You got to roll
yeah,
it over a
Sisyphus.
rock and up a hill.
He's got to push this fucking boulder up the side of a fucking cliff, only for it to fall down, so he can do it over again. So, it's a very easy allegory to what our main character is going through. Speaking of other narratives that use this device very well, also like this particular thing uses the Greek mythology, like they go deep into the Greek mythology. There's a video game that I absolutely love. I was actually playing it right before I got on, called Returnal, and if you haven't played it, it's on PC and PS5. It's amazing. The storyline is incredible, but it also deals with the theme, specifically the trials of Sisyphus and being in a never ending causal loop. That's like the whole nature of the game, because in the game you die, you come back, you die, you come back, and it's awesome. It's one of the best narratives I've ever played in a video game. I fucking loved it.
Sisyphus must have
um
done something pretty damn awful. Be
well, he
forced to live
cheated
an eternity.
death. He was like the Sisyphus was like the very first like Final Destination character. Like that's basically that's basically his the idea. He was supposed to die, and I forget how he cheated death, but he got out of it. And I also think that is, I mean, I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but the way I read the film is that um our main character is an abusive mother, or at least a somewhat abusive mother. I don't know. There's levels, I guess. She her
Abusive
she
to
was
her autistic
her
son.
son. Yeah, her autistic son, and she was involved in a car accident, and I believe she survived the car accident and her son didn't. And this is where she cheats death, and now she is punished to live out this horrific reality where she's stuck in this causal loop trying to figure out how to get out of it, but she never will. Like there's a scene at the very end of the movie that's slightly confusing, but like she is transporting she is back on land after all the events of the boat, and she finds herself, and she kills herself, and she stuffs herself in the trunk, and then is in the car with her son driving away, and then she is in a car accident that kills her son. Now when the rest of the normal people, the pedestrians, see it, they just find her body in the back, and then she's standing there without a scratch on her, looking at the whole thing. To me, it's trying to tell you that this is the actual origin of the beginning of the loop. Like she is, what I mean? I don't think she was really like there, or you know what I mean? Because that's why she survived, and she doesn't have a scratch on her. So this is where the whole loop begins. Now, I guess the question would be,
This is a cool shot right here.
yeah, I
I
really
really
like
like
this
this.
shot. I really enjoyed that shot. Now the question, I guess, would be, in the reality of the situation, if there is any reality in the situation, should she literally have this car accident and then go on this trip with her friends? I have a hard time kind of believing that. So
I
I guess it doesn't really matter, but
I
I don't
tend
know.
to read the reviews after I watch the movie as opposed to reading them before.
Oh
And
yeah,
I
yeah,
was
me too.
I was interested to see that some people were saying that um when this all transpired, like she was doing it as a reaction to this car accident and was going to the boat in order to relive the experience so that she could bring her
She could
son to life
stop.
again,
She could
and
stop
she
the
could
car
hopefully stop.
accident.
But
That
we
makes
all
sense.
know this is not going to stop. Like this
Well,
is just an infinite loop that will
also
not
the
stop.
thing yeah, and the thing is that I also liked about it is the movie kind of hints at it, but never explicitly tells you. But like she retains some kind of information for surviving these loops, but not much, right? Like she
Yeah.
gets on the boat and she's like, I remember this boat, but like it's because she's lived it before, but she doesn't have like complete recall of what she's done. So what you said makes a lot of sense, where she's actively trying to start the loop to break the cycle to stop this accident. Because I think another thing that I really liked in this scene in particular, is when so she hits a bird on their drive, right? And then she like goes to toss the bird off the side of like the street, and there's already a pile of dead birds,
Yeah.
indicating, and that
She's
was a
been
cool
there.
revelation. Because I mean, I kind of think we all kind of saw it coming, but it's still kind of a core. It's like, oh, you're still stuck, like you're
Right.
still in the fucking loop.
Yeah.
And I do love that. I thought that was like, I was like, that's a fun touch.
Yeah.
So I guess it is questionable, like exactly when the loop starts, but I would say to me it's like at the accident.
Yeah.
But I really overall enjoyed every time the movie went out of its way to show you how many times this has happened. Like when she goes for her necklace and there's a pile of her necklaces in that drain, or when the one the best scene I think is when the one of the friends is dying and there's just a pile of her corpses in the side
Yeah.
of the boat.
Right.
Like I was like, that's fun. Like I like that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, she is in a Sisyphean task, right? Like she keeps, it's like she has been punished for her ill deeds, and she's basically stuck. She can't, because I mean, the other thing that I do like about the narrative of this movie is that there's seemingly no hope, right? Like
And she's the heroine, but also the villain at the same time,
yeah,
which is a
a very high tension too in that respect. Like
yeah.
to touch back on that movie. But like, and
One
also not only is she the villain, but she's kind of awful. I mean, if it's,
yeah.
you know what I mean, like she's like abusive to her son, and I don't know, like it's an interesting take. Also, I don't know if you caught this, but that song that the band was playing is the same song that that record was playing,
Ah. No, I
which
didn't catch
again
that.
doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's kind of neat. Like it's
Yeah.
again, it kind of touches on, like, is she like reliving like memories, or like what is really going on here? It's kind of up in the air, you know what I mean? It's open to interpretation.
Did at any point did you get
That shot in particular looks real bad.
yeah, it looks terrible. That's why I
It
picked that
looks
one out.
it
um
looks real bad. There's a the shot too where like they come up the very first time when they come up on the boat and they're like, I see somebody. This one, oof.
yeah.
It looks like a PlayStation 1 game. And you can like, I don't know if it was intentional, but like when they're like, oh, I see somebody, like the way that they had like the light shine on the camera, like you couldn't see anybody. I was like, are they
Yeah, the
fucking with
light
me? I don't
flare.
see anybody.
I know. The light flare is also like a cheap gimmicky
Hmm.
tool used with editing to, like
It's a very like stage one of After Effects kind of
yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Um at any point did you get bored with this? Like after
Um,
like
not
once you knew
really.
she was in a time loop. I know you like time loop movies. But
Yeah,
there was like three variants of the main of like each character, right?
yeah.
And if not more, I think it was just but
I think it was 3 or 4, yeah.
at at no point you were like, okay, I get it. Like when are we gonna move on from this? Like I
Yeah,
know
I
you
mean,
have to like kill your way out
I
of this, but
I get that. I get that. No, I mean, I didn't. I felt like, well, what I was interested in was that like she, how she even comes to the conclusion that like to fix things she needs to kill everybody. Because at first she's just like, oh, I got to kill everybody, and then it takes like another 15 to 20 minutes for her. She's like, I need to kill them so they never get on the boat. I'm like,
right.
oh, okay. Because at
Yeah.
first she's just like, I had to kill them, and I'm like, why?
Why? Yeah, exactly.
But no, I mean, I don't know. I think the movie is paced well enough where I didn't get bored. I mean, it's again, it's a pretty short movie. So I didn't really like, I don't know, it didn't really bore me too much. I felt like again the characters, I feel like the movie would have done well. And I know I kind of know why they didn't, because it's not their movie. It's the whole movie is the protagonist movie, right? Like
Mm,
it's all about her.
yeah.
And the other ones are just kind of window dressing. But like them just going around the boat yelling at each other was kind of silly. Also, like the function of the boat itself doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like why there's this big like cruise liner just out in the middle of the ocean with nobody in it.
Okay, so I was trying to think of why it was called Triangle, why the boat. What I thought of without doing any research, just
Uh,
using this feeble little brain, was that
mm,
this was supposed to be
Sexy
based in
brain.
the.
You know,
Thank you.
most people's brains are ugly because they got all these wrinkles, not you. Nice and smooth.
I got some wrinkles. Thanks. Yeah.
Outside, inside
I
the
just
brain.
photo.
Yeah.
I yeah. I just
Oh yeah,
used the. I used
you
the
CGI
effects
it.
on
You
OBS.
CGI it like Tom Cruise.
My
You just pull up
CGI
your
is
shirt,
way better
you
than
got
this
all these.
movie.
You pull up your
Um,
shirt and you got all these like fucking abs.
abs for days. So many
Hell yeah.
abs.
But
Um,
yeah, I the
but it's like
function of
supposed
the
to be the Bermuda Triangle,
I assumed,
right?
but like, well, it's called
So
triangle because their boat is called Triangle.
their boat? No, it's
It
called Aeolus.
wasn't they called Triangle? Wasn't
No,
something called Triangle?
not that I'm aware of.
I thought. I thought that no, their little yacht wasn't the yacht called Triangle?
Oh, was it?
Not the big boat. The big boat is the Aeolus, which is hilarious because it sounds a lot like Areola and Amy Giggle.
Let me see if I can
I've
find it. Hold
I
on.
think their yacht was called Triangle.
Really?
I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure.
You're probably right. I didn't
But I
follow it
thought it was Bermuda
that well.
Triangle too, without having seen anything else. Like even before I started watching it.
Which is, the lore that comes with the Bermuda Triangle, all the crazy
Bro,
shit, like
my
everything gets
my
lost.
parents my parents when I was a little kid went
Yeah,
on a cruise that went through the Bermuda Triangle and I was legit terrified.
I
I
would
was
be
like
too.
crying as a
Yeah,
kid. And
you
spoiler
you
alerts,
think you're gonna
they're
lose them
fine.
forever? That you're aware of. It could be the
It
second
could be
variant
a yeah, it could
of.
be like the Tulpa version of my parents, I don't know.
I cannot. I'm watching. You can watch along with me. I cannot find the name of the boat, but they may have said
I
it
could
and
have
just not
sworn they said it.
shown
I
it.
could have sworn they said the boat was named the Triangle, which again is a dumb name for a boat.
It is really dumb because boat is shaped like, well, sail is, I guess, but that's still even more reason to not.
It'd be
It
funnier if like her autistic son named it.
was named Triangle. Christ.
That's terrible.
Oh god.
There
I don't know
goes
what to
our
do with
one
that.
remaining fan.
Oh boy. I mean, it's not the worst name I've heard. Uh,
I mean, no, it's just the title kind of sucks. I'll be honest. The title's not very good.
the it doesn't evoke anything of horror or anything scary.
Well,
Um,
and I guess, since we're in our time loop portion of the show, it's the one part of the movie that like it doesn't work for me. It kind of sucks too because it's like it's the biggest part of the movie.
yeah,
But like it kind of bothers me. Why is that boat out there? Like, what does that boat have to do with anything? Like, it's
right.
kind of weird. Like it's kind of like they wrote the movie backwards because I like where they go with it. Like I like the idea that we are following a horrible person, and these
It'd be
are
called,
also this scene. This scene
yeah,
was really good. I thought her grabbing the barrel is pretty badass. Um,
it'd be ship loop or time ship.
oh, also, I don't know if we have to cut this off before we get like copy claim, but this when the shooter runs out of bullets and then just hucks the gun. I don't know why that was
Yeah.
so fucking funny to me
And knocks her
because like
off
he's
the
just
railing.
and it hits her and knocks her off.
Yeah, here we go.
It's so funny.
It's
I
good
like
though. I mean, it's like shit. Take the.
I
I
think
mean,
it's because like they're so close. Like when they do that shot on the
I
back,
mean,
it's like they're like
she wasn't even phased. She was just
no,
like she jumped right back up. Like she didn't just get hit in the head with a shotgun and fall 10 feet.
yeah, no. What is that? I don't know. What did
I
she
don't
like?
know.
She did it twice, and I'm like, what did she do there? Anyway, what were we talking about?
Uh,
The boat. We
we're
were
caught
talking
in a
about the
time
boat.
loop. Yeah.
Well, we're talking about the boat, and like everything else, like fits right. Like I get everything, but like the boat, the big boat specifically, like I don't understand. And I guess like again, it's possible like dream logic, so it doesn't really matter. But like it definitely is kind of like by the time the movie was over, I was like, what was the point of the big boat? And like
That's exactly what I was thinking the entire time I watched the bulk of the movie is why am I watching so much of this where I feel like this isn't even like I'm missing the meaning behind the movie here.
yeah, and it's
And you
not.
get that in the last 20 minutes.
Well, and the thing is too is that like the other thing about the boat is that there's like no people in it. Like it's a very like horror movie setup, right? Like it's
Yeah.
this giant boat that's in the middle of the ocean that just happens to come by and get them, and there's nobody in it. And it's just like, but that's never really resolved. Like there's no
Yeah.
like by the end of the movie, like I get the plot. Like it's not like a movie where it's like over my head. Like I completely understand what they're going for. And
But why the
again,
boat?
that's
At
but
the end of
why
the
the
day,
boat?
why the
Why
boat?
does the it's again, it's almost like they had the idea for the boat and then they wrote everything else around it.
Yeah. And because they thought it was spooky or creepy that there would be an empty ship. Um
And that is creepy, but like again, you
eh,
have to
is it though?
tie that tie that into the rest of the movie somehow, right? Like tie that into her like I don't know, maybe again, you need to I don't even know how you do this, but you got to you got to loop that I hate that, TJ loves to talk about other media when we talk about the movie. But that game Returnal, right? That everything, every set piece in that game is tied into the main character's trauma and history. And they
Yeah.
go out of their way to explain, they don't go out of their way, but they show you enough in context where like you don't really understand if the planet you're on is real or not, but it doesn't matter because it explains why it exists. And I feel like this movie doesn't do that. Like it'd be maybe like the kid was like, I don't know, conceived on a fucking big boat, or maybe here's an idea, maybe have the abuse or the accident. This also was a good scene.
Yeah.
Um maybe have the abuse for on her kid take place on a boat or something, or the accident that killed him take place on a big boat, or some reason that this big boat plays a like a part in her life, because it doesn't and it's very glaring at the end of the day, to be perfectly honest. Like it's what I got stuck, I was stuck in my own time loop trying to figure out why that boat was there. Everything else fits, everything else, going back to a better movie, Time Crimes, everything fits in that movie. It's so like cleverly written that everything fits. You can answer every question you have about that movie because it's all super tight. This movie is a little looser,
TJ,
like
I feel
like
like
like my butthole.
that could have been like a picture of you from 7 years
Oh
ago. You could
yeah. Oh yeah.
We all
That
had that
or
unfortunate
that or
haircut.
that or a current picture of Alandi Vassar from D. Antworth. She has the same haircut.
The straight bang cut. It's not even a bowl cut. It's just
No,
like
it's that is an aggressive haircut right there. Yeah.
it's unfortunate that that's how they portrayed the autistic child. Like, let's all right, he's autistic, but we
But it's
have to give him an
give him
awful
that
haircut.
haircut. Yeah,
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 it's like no, you
yeah.
don't need to do that. Like just
Give
because he
him
like,
yeah.
they don't have to do anything with one another. You can have autism and have a regular hair.
I mean,
Possible. Hot
he could have
take.
just yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. All right. So it's about let's get into scores, I guess. Unless we have anything else to add.
I have zero to add.
Yeah,
You want to go ahead first, or you want me to
I'll go first.
go for it?
This is like it's like a 5.5 bordering on like a
Oof.
6. It again, like there's like really interesting elements in this movie. And I think there's some genuinely well done scenes. Like there's a lot of moments in this movie I enjoy. But again, like I can't get over your central conceit. Like the biggest chunk of your movie is a big question mark for me, and I'm sorry I can't get over it. Like
Yeah.
I don't understand why your big set piece is your big set piece, because it doesn't fit with the rest of the movie. Like it just doesn't. And it sucks because again, I like the narrative overall. Like I like the idea of this woman being punished. That's a weird way to put it. This character, this main character being punished for, and I genuinely like movies that focus on less than savory people, right? Like I
Yeah.
always like the idea of having, people like that are deeply flawed, and our main character is deeply flawed, and that all is interesting, and her suffering for what she's done is interesting. But the problem is that, if you yes end it in a script, it's like, how do you get to the boat? And it's like, okay, well, why are you at the boat? And I don't
Right.
have an answer for that. And it honestly, if you had it, if you just gave me some kind of explanation for the boat, I'm not asking for a whole lot. I mean, it probably jumps it up to like a 7 or an 8. I mean, again, there's a lot of good stuff in this movie. It's not terrible. It's just again, like you have that big plot hole that it's your central part of the movie. I can't get over it. I can't get past it. So yeah, it's like a 5.5 for me.
5.5. Okay. I'm giving it a 4.4.
Yeah.
For the same exact reasons. I think, like you said, they wrote this around for the director Christopher Smith. He wanted a boat in this for whatever reason. Uh,
My cat really wanted to hear your score.
what's up, Hella?
She like is so funny. She only wants to jump up, and I guess because I'm
To hear my
talking, she like,
score. She's
yeah.
so yeah. She's so intrigued by what I'm going to give this movie.
She'll be sitting here next to me, not making a sound, and then the minute I start
Yeah.
recording, it's just
Well,
ring
my
ring.
voice is like catnip. You know?
I mean, I
I'll
agree with
come
that.
to the yard. Um,
All the
so
cats.
all the cats come to the yard. Um, yeah, this movie didn't really do it for me. I would
Yeah,
have
I get
liked
it.
some explanation as to a why the boat, but if the only explanation is because this is supposed to be in the Bermuda Triangle and weird shit happens in the Bermuda Triangle,
Yeah,
it seems kind of
that's
lazy
not
to me. It's not
that's
enough.
not enough. That's
No,
also it's nothing they ever mentioned in the movie.
no,
That would have been something. Give me that.
right,
Oh, I don't know if we should sail down that part of the water. There's,
yeah,
nigh on 70 years ago,
yeah,
a family disappeared or something.
something.
Or
Give
you know
us
what?
some backstory.
Give me like some news headline in the background where it's like, tanker ship lost at sea, nobody knows why, some stupid shit like give me anything. There's no
Right.
explanation for the boat. Also, they don't ever the thing that drove me nuts is that like the boyfriend has like the most sensible thing when he gets on the boat. He's like, "We'll go up to where the captain's chamber is and we'll fucking, say,
Yeah.
"Hey, what's up?" And I don't think they ever go up there.
Yeah. I don't think so.
So it's like, well,
There
why
could have
didn't
been help up there.
yeah, I mean, who's steering this boat? The boats just I don't know anything about boats. Like, do they just go?
That's why. Yeah. Does the boat even really exist?
Well, she did at one point. She remember because she's trying to get to the overturned the capsized yacht, and she goes to like the engine room, and then she hilariously like can't turn any of the valves off, and because I don't know, just random valves would stop the boat. I don't know.
It's the main valve. You got to twist it all the way to the left,
Yeah,
and yeah, it stops it in its tracks.
it's good to know. I mean,
Everyone
like
knows
I
that.
said, I don't know anything about boats, so
I do know that Aeolus, because I just looked it up, is the god of wind. So there is
yes.
some more
Well, they say
Greek
that in
myth.
the movie. They say
Yeah.
that in the movie too.
Oh,
So.
I missed that part too. I fell asleep. um. So yeah, 4.4.
Yeah,
I
5.5.
what I would
Very
recommend to
middling.
yeah, what I would recommend to anyone that is thinking about watching this movie, watch the first 15. Watch it through the boat wreck.
Yeah,
Once they get onto the boat, watch it for like another 10 minutes, then just skip to the last 20 minutes
yeah.
because the middle is just for
Or
me it was
just watch Time Crimes because that's a much better
or do
movie.
that.
Because they should have just titled this movie. You know how like Time Crimes is in Spanish is Cronos Criminales. This could have
Yes.
been Cronos
See
Criminales del Mar. Time
of the
Crimes of
sea.
the Sea.
All right, so that's a 5.5 and a
Yeah,
4.4.
very very middle of
That's
the road.
not a great not a
So
great score, not a
lukewarm.
terrible score, not the
That's
worst
like
score we've ever given, not the definitely not the best.
no,
Very middle of the road movie.
it's like getting your dinner out of the microwave and it's pretty good, but then you hit that
Yeah.
cold spot in the middle and you're like, oh,
Uh, I'll
not
just
great.
mix it around with the other movies that I like. Um,
Well, next week we got an exciting one for you
yes,
guys.
you want to unveil
Um,
it?
yeah, so next week we are going to review Stop Motion, a
Oh, I
movie I've
timed
been
that perfectly. Did you see
dying to
that?
watch. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was brilliant. It's a movie that I've literally been dying to watch ever since I saw the trailer for it and it got announced. It's a British movie. It came out last year in 2023 technically, but it just became available to watch over here. And spoiler alerts, Chris and I have already watched it, but I'm not going to say any other things. I don't want to spoil the movie. I didn't even. Oh, I did make a letterbox review. So I guess if you're really dying to know what I think about this movie, you can go on my letterbox. But yeah, the only thing I'm going to say is I'm excited. I'm really excited to talk about it. This movie left me fucking reeling in ways that I haven't felt like. I feel like the last time I felt this way after watching a movie was Midsummer, which is a high praise for me. Like I remember it
But you
being
also
kind
said
of like
Possum. You mentioned you drew
Possum. Well,
parallels to Possum.
thematically, I feel
Oh.
like, and I love Possum. Possum in this movie, they could be like they're like sister films almost because they eerily deal with the same subject matter
Mm-hmm.
and also kind of do it in a very similar way because you have animatronic characters in this movie and then you have puppets in in Possum,
Awesome.
and then in this movie they refer to people as puppets. So it's like it's
Hmm.
very similar movie. Yeah, I
And
can't wait to talk about it though. I was definitely very interested in talking about it. So I even brought it up. I think I brought it up on the show a couple of times.
yeah,
So
did
very excited to talk about this one.
putting that
So
away. All right.
all
Well,
right.
that about wraps it up for this week. Thank you so much for listening. Go. I say give Triangle a shot. Maybe you'll like it.
Yeah, give it a shot. Hey, and you know what? For all y'all on any of our social medias, we appreciate y'all. Leave a comment.
Yeah,
Tell me that I have the worst opinion in the world. We want to foster engagement, people.
yeah.
So or be like those guys on the YouTube shorts and just make fun of how I look. Hey,
All
it's
right.
whatever.
Go get. Yeah. Have
It's
at
still
it.
content. It's
We're
still content.
we've got thick skin. We've dealt
Yeah.
with enough
I mean,
abuse in our
I
lives.
don't. I really don't. But it's just as well. That actually that'll make you want to be
I
meaner
hide the
because it'll
really mean comments from TJ, so he never
it
has to see
really
them.
gets to me. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All
Uh,
right.
all
Great.
right. Bye, everybody.
See ya.